Assalamualaikum. So for today's video, I will be focusing on social stratification, and we are required to discuss the differences and also the similarity according to their background and also their personal experience, particularly the aspect of social stratification. And we have to choose our own two heroes. So my two heroes that I am going to compare today are Lee Byung-chul, which is the founder for Samsung, and also Ren Zhengfei, which is the founder for Huawei. So you can say that my focus for today is in the technology field. So before I start to compare these two heroes, I would like to briefly explain what is social stratification is all about. So social stratification is actually a system by which society categorizes people and rank them in a hierarchy. So for example, when we talk with our friends, we said that this particular group or this particular pupil are the graduates from a particular university. So that is actually one of the example of social stratification. So now I have done with my explanation on what is social stratification is. I will move on to the first aspect of social stratification, which is the form of stratification. So form of stratification actually it is consists of four forms, which are slavery, caste, estates, or mostly known as feudalism, and lastly social class. So for Lee Byung-chul, which is the founder of Samsung, he can fall under the feudalism, which is who have superior and also the privileged status. This is because he is actually the only son of a wealthy family, and he also his family was also one of the landowners, and his family left him with a huge wealth for him to inherit. So that makes him fall under the feudalism forms. For Mr. Ren Zhengfei, which is the founder of Huawei, he can be categorized as a social class. This is because his family or his parents work as school teachers, and he actually spent his own school years in Jiangning, which is one of the poorest regions in China. So that what makes him fall under social class. Now we are going to move on to the second aspect of social stratification, which is the class consciousness. So for Lee Byung-chul, he actually can be categorized as bourgeoisie, which is the capitalist class. Capitalist class, or this bourgeoisie, is actually referring to those who owns the means of production, such as factories and also machinery, or the groups that maximizes profit. So why I said Lee Byung-chul is bourgeoisie is because his family is he comes from a very fortunate and a very wealthy family, which also makes him can able to inherit a huge amount of wealth. But however, for Ren Zhengfei, he actually can be categorized as proletariat, which means working class, and this is because his parents, as I've said before, his parents work as the school teachers. For the third aspect, which is false consciousness, which means an attitude that doesn't reflect their objective position, Lee Byung-chul, he actually opened the rice mill first, but then due to his failure in the rice mill business, as he doesn't generate any major profits in that particular business, he decided to open a company, namely Samsung. So that is his false consciousness. And for Ren Zhengfei, he actually wasn't trained in electronic field, but he first studied construction engineering at Chongqing University, and then he subsequently worked as civil engineer, and then he joined People Liberation Army, and after the PLA, which is the People Liberation Army, disbanded its entire engineering corps, He then left the army and worked at the logistic divisions of the Shenzhen South Sea Oil Corporation for a few years. However, Ren felt very dissatisfied with his job there, and then he decided to found his own little company, which is Huawei. And Huawei, firstly, originally is actually a communication equipment reseller, installer, and also maintenance operator. But then Ren Zhengfei, he always wanted the company to design and manufacture its own equipment, and that what makes him the founder of Huawei as he is today. And this process of him of not becoming the CEO of Huawei at the first place is what can be described as false consciousness. And for the fourth aspect of social stratification, which is status, Li Byung-chul can be categorized as someone who has ascribed status. So ascribed status can actually be defined as a status whereby people are born with the status and it cannot be changed. So for example, race or our family background, it cannot be changed. So it is ascribed status. And for example of this ascribed status of Li Byung-chul is when he used his inherited wealth to start his first business, which is the rice mill. And as for Ren Zhengfei, which is the founder for Huawei, he actually someone who used achieved status. Achieved status is a social position that a person attains largely through his or her own effort. So as I have mentioned and explained the process of how Ren Zhengfei be the founder of Huawei, we can see his hard work, and he actually non-stop focus on his goal to open his own company. We can say that Ren Zhengfei's effort can be clearly seen from that explanation. And then the next aspect, which is the prestige. Prestige can be defined as respect and admiration and occupation hopes in society. So to sum up, basically both of these founders of a huge company, which is Ren Zhengfei and also Li Byung-chul, they both have high occupation. So we can say that they have high prestige occupation. However, in terms of esteem, which is the reputation of individual has earned within an occupation, I believe they both have acquired different esteem in regards to achieve that particular occupation. And next, socio-economic status. So for this particular aspect, we can clearly see that Li Byung-chul comes from a very upper class, where his family is a wealthy family, and for Ren Zhengfei, he actually comes from a lower middle class. As I have stated before, his parents were school teachers. For poverty line, Mr. Li Byung-chul, or the founder of Samsung, can be seen as someone who comes from a very wealthy family. However, for Ren Zhengfei, which is the founder of Huawei, he comes from non-poverty family, as both of his parents work as school teachers. And for life chances, we can clearly say that Li Byung-chul is at advantage, while Ren Zhengfei is at disadvantages. This is because when we compare how both of my two heroes achieved their social position or their occupation as they are now as the founder of a company, a big company, you can see that Ren Zhengfei had to face many obstacles in order for him to be the founder of Huawei. He even lived or studied at the most poorest region in China. And The second last aspect of social stratification that I would like to compare today is social mobility. So what is social mobility? Social mobility is actually the movement of individuals or groups from one position in a society stratification system to another. So in another word, social mobility can be said as the movement either upward or downward of any individual for them to achieve a social position. So for Lee Byung-chul, I chose horizontal mobility, and as for Ren Zhengfei, I chose three social mobility for him, which are upward intergenerational mobility, upward intragenerational mobility, and also vertical mobility. So the reason why I chose horizontal mobility for Lee Byung-chul is mostly because his family is a wealthy family. So so we can relate this with horizontal mobility, which is the movement within the same range of prestige. So Lee Byung-chul, the founder of Samsung, he used his huge wealth that have been inherited by his family to open his first business, which is the rice mill. And then due to the failure of his first business, he decided to open Samsung company. So both of that is actually at the same range, which is business. However, for Ren Zhengfei, the first social mobility that I have chose for him is upward intergenerational mobility. So what is upward intergenerational mobility? So this upward intergenerational mobility is actually changes in children's position relative to their parents. So we can see that as his parents worked as school teachers only, Ren Zhengfei decided to change his family background, his own social position, to from only being the son of school teachers to be a CEO or the founder of a very known and mostly huge company. So next, upward intragenerational mobility, which can be defined as social position changes within person's adult life. So during his process to become a founder of the Huawei, so we can say that he faced many obstacles. He even made a few changes in his occupation in order for him to be the CEO of Huawei. And the vertical mobility, which is the movement from one position to another of a different rank. So from being the civil engineer, and then he joined the People's Liberation Army, and then he became the CEO and the founder of Huawei. So we can clearly see how is the movement or changes from one position to another of a different rank. For the last aspect, which is the stratification system, Lee Byung-chul's is a closed system, and this is mostly because due to his family wealth, he doesn't have to make any big or huge changes for he to acquire the social position, which is as the founder of Samsung. However, for Ren Zhengfei, he is open system, and this is because of his parents only work as school teachers, and this make him struggle, or work hard for him to acquire his current position. So before I end my video for today, I would like to choose one hero that I think most admirable. So from my personal view, I think as a student myself, I will personally follow Ren Zhengfei's steps or ways in order for him to become the founder of Huawei. And this is because I will not give up, or I will not stop my hard work or my study halfway, even if many obstacles come in my way to in my study. So I think that is all for today. So thank you for watching. Bye.